Hey guys, welcome back to the Waterlad Podcast. I'm James Marshall and thanks for tuning in to another episode. Very much appreciated. Or if this is your first time, well then welcome to the show. And there is plenty of great lad stories for you to scroll back through the archives and get your ears around. But this episode is brought to you by Reminder Sports, who make some of the coolest sports gear out. And they've been working behind the scenes on a Waterlad basketball singlet for the summer, which will feature some of the Waterlad legends who have come on the podcast already. So stay tuned around that space. Make sure you're following the Waterlad Instagram page if you're not already to stay right on. But anyway, I have an absolute legend of a lad for you for this episode, so let's get to it.
What a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad. What a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad.
What a lad. Well, today I'm stoked to be in the presence of arguably the greatest pound-for-pound lad in the game. He's a fan favourite for good reason, as his ability to dominate at the highest level, despite his size, is impressive to watch. He firstly starred with Waikato in his early years, before carrying the Chiefs over the last few, and now he's a very key member of this All Blacks squad. He's also just recently signed with Suntory in Japan, which I'm really looking forward to hearing all about. It is one of the greatest lads around. It is Damian Mckenzie. Welcome, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for the kind introduction. Very kind words.
Mate, you're an absolute wizard, so I'm stoked to have you on. But firstly, let's start with the big signing, move to Suntory. How did that all come about?
Yeah, it's I guess I was sort of looking last year at different. I was off contract, so just looking at opportunities offshore and just seeing what was out there. And there was a couple other clubs who I looked at, and then obviously Bodie had been at Suntory, so I got to talk to him about it. And yeah, just thought it was a good chance to come over. I'll be lying to say if the money wasn't good. It was, so it's an opportunity to benefit in that way, but also just to try something fresh. Hopefully, obviously been playing Super for a while now, so something maybe less physical. And yeah, it's here now, so looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Mate, you're going to kill it over there. That style absolutely suits the way you play, eh? It's just so fast, high-tempo footy. So the rugby's not for everyone over there, but I think you're going to absolutely thrive over there.
Yeah, it's obviously they play a bit of an attacking brand, and everyone's probably a bit more my size over here, so which is going to help as well. And then we've got some great lads at the club as well, which is great. Good few Aussie boys. Tom Sanders has just signed there too, which is awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, it's going to be fun. Afternoon rugby a lot of the time, which is awesome too. And we start. I think the first match is in might be the 6th of Jan, maybe. So yeah, it's going to come around quick.
Mate, do you feel any pressure coming in, filling in Bodie's boots, and obviously taking his contract plus some?
It's definitely not his contract. It's definitely not plus some. But not so much. Obviously, Bodie's a great player. So being able to, I guess, chat to him about what it was like playing over here has been great. And I think for me, like you said, I think it's a game style that suits the way I play. So I'm looking forward to getting out and just being able to try and play that attacking rugby and just try and add my sort of spice to the team and what I can do. So it's hard boots to fill. Knowing Bodie's been here, it's going to be fun. I've got some good guys around me to play with, so hopefully leave a good stake in the ground and play some good rugby.
Mate, no doubt. So you're only there for this season and then you're back to New Zealand rugby? Is that how the contract looks?
Yeah, I'm just here for the one season, so sort of be back in roughly May-ish, around that sort of time, and then I'll obviously sign back with New Zealand rugby and then play Mitre 10 for the first while, because obviously I'm not eligible to play straight away for the All Blacks unless there's an injury, which so obviously I'm going to have to play good rugby over here though first to be considered in that squad. So then again, I'll come back and I'll just play for the mighty Strong Arm, who had a great year this year. And and provincial rugby's fun rugby to play, and I've level of rugby I actually missed playing. I remember the last 2 games last year playing for them was some of the most enjoyable rugby I've played. So yeah, that's the plan, and be definitely back to the one and only Chiefs as well.
Nice, mate. You're going to be deadly in that strong arm team. They went a little bit too good this year, didn't they?
They were good, mate. They got a good young side and a couple of old heads. You've still got Hunger floating around. And, but they went really well. They're a good side, and yeah, that's like I said, it'd be cool to be able to get back and play some rugby for them.
Yeah, mate, their side sort of reminds me a little bit about the side maybe 4 or 5 years ago when you and Anton, Lienet-Brown and Weber and stuff were all coming through, all young, very exciting players, and they've got that again now.
Yeah, they do. It's we were lucky enough when we started out. We had a couple of old heads. We was a bit older than us, but then a few young guys coming through, which was great. Like we were one of those teams where some weekends we'd come out and could play the best rugby ever and beat a lot of teams, but then some weekends where obviously experience played a role. There was one, I remember one game particularly where a couple of grubs from Taranaki did a few things to us. I'm sure Marty's probably told you that story. But yeah, we had an exciting team. It's like they got now, very, very youthful and a bit of experience too, and they just play an exciting brand rugby. It's good to watch.
Give us a little bit more about the grubs from Taranaki. Is this when you didn't talk to Swano for a few weeks, was it, after that game? What did he do? He must have been filthy.
Yeah, it was my first year, and I remember we went down to Taranaki and we got a hiding actually. I think it was something like 40 or 50 something to nil, and I don't know what like I'm all for your small talk and stuff, and particularly Marty was grub. Like one occasion, it's just me and him, and next thing I've just been clocked in the head, and I'm like, what's going on here? And I thought it might have been someone else, and so anyway, it's only Marty, and I jump up. So what are you doing, mate? And he's like, no, it wasn't even me. I was like, you're pathetic. And then it was you crap bakers. He was playing for them, and he's one of you. He's probably a bit better now, but one of top grubs you'll play against.
Yeah,
yeah. Angus Tarvell, he always reminds me of it. And I remember after that game, my love for the Naki there wasn't much at all. And then I was pretty sour after the game, and probably wasn't till 2 weeks later until actually Marty had to go for an operation. So I'll be to touch base just in case something bad happens. So yeah, but yeah, it was and it wasn't. I don't know if Mum and Dad were too happy. Probably quite embarrassing for them was chucking the ball at Marty when he was on the ground. And, yeah.
Oh, heat of the moment stuff, eh? We've all been there. We've all been there.
Oh, mate, I'm sure, yeah. Probably you. I'm not sure if you had a scenario with Tojo, but yeah, it's that rivalry between your brothers, it's always there.
Mate, 100%. And anyway, let's get back to your Japan thing. So what's your living situation there? Are you just in like an apartment? Have you pretty much walked into Bodie's apartment?
No, he was in the penthouse. So I'm not in that. And I'm just in I'm currently in MIQ. So got in on Tuesday and straight off the plane into MIQ. I got 2 weeks in this hotel room where I can't leave the room. The window does open, which is nice, and then got a watt bike in here. There's a wee night light show out here on every night, which is good for headspace. Just sit out and look at that during the night. And and then when I get out, out in 2 weeks' time, and I've got a 2-bedroom apartment. So most of the boys live in this one big apartment block. So I'll move in there, and I think it's quite close to training, and yeah, it'll be good to just be by myself, sort of locking it down. And
mate, living the dream. Absolutely loving it. And what do you know about Japan? What do you know about like the lifestyle over there? You've obviously spent a little bit of time there before, have you?
I have, yeah. I've travelled here with the ABs a couple of times, and then with the Chiefs once. But it's funny when you actually travel by yourself. Like you obviously travel with a team, and it's easy because you just like you're told where to go, what to do. It was like me trying to get to the airport on the other day. Like I was like
Japanese,
just a lost soul, like just walking around. Obviously found my way here, which was fantastic. But yeah, you take it for granted. I guess you're always traveling as a team, and then. But as an experience, obviously, I love Japanese food. The Japanese people, every time I've been here, they're so welcoming and very nice, and able to travel around and get on the train and go away for some weekends. I've got Robbie Robertson, cousin, he's over here, so catch up with him, try catch up with him and his family a bit, and then obviously heaps of mates who are scattered around the place. And so I'm looking forward to getting there. I think it's less restricting from what it was last year, talking to Bears, what sort of restrictions they had on them. So it'd be nice to be able to get out, trip around, smash a few ramens. Looking forward to that. So
you're going to come back massive.
Well, I tell you, I've got this watt bike in here, and I'm currently living off bento boxes. So
Oh, true. That's shocking. Too.
yeah. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is like a cold bento box.
Oh, crook.
So it's like it's not great, but it's not too bad. But I said, I'll walk out of here and they'll go, who's this wee toothpick we signed? Like, because there's no way. It's the only thing I got to lift is my bed. And other than that, it's pretty much just jump on the watt bike. So I'm not going to come out in the greatest nick, I don't think.
Mate, I don't think they'll be expecting a massive human when they sign you, to be fair.
Nah. Well, they're not going to get it. I'm smart. Like I said, bento boxes, and I've been very lucky. They've sent me some noodle boxes and stuff. And yeah, it's be nice to get out and actually go out and have some proper Japanese food.
100%. And so you were just dropped off on the way back from Europe. So how was camp after that tour? Obviously didn't quite finish the way you guys were probably hoping for, but up until a couple of weeks ago, you guys were on fire, which people are pretty quick to forget.
Yeah, it was a big tour. Like, it was long. Like, thinking back when we were in Aussie and then obviously over to the UK and Northern Hemisphere tour. Like, we ended up, I think, how many games was it? 15 tests throughout the year, and we won 12 of them. Like you said, people easily forget those games after a couple of losses. And like I said, like Ireland and French team, they're great sides, and it's probably, like a good thing for us. Like, it's a good way to learn how we can get better next year with a couple of losses. And it's good how competitive the world rugby is. Like, the teams are so tight and close now. So, but it was a fun tour. But yeah, you could definitely tell at the end of it, the boys were looking forward to sort of getting back home. And like, it's a long time away from family for a lot of those guys, and particularly have kids as well. But we had some fun. Aussie was good fun. Played plenty of golf. Went to the grand final, and then jumped on the plane over to the UK, and we weren't really allowed out of our hotel that much, but we sort of made the most of what we could do. But it felt like it flew by quite quickly. But it was boys back home, got a 7-day quarantine. It's quite funny. Like, I was leaving and started end of August, early September. I was like, right, went down to see my parents. I was like, right, I'll see you in May. It's a long time sort of traveling away, but all for the experience. It should be fun.
Mate, how hard is it to stay right on mentally throughout a long tour like that? Because obviously All Black camps are pretty intense. Talking to Squire the other week, how he talked about just how mentally draining it is to stay right on that whole time. So a tour like that must have been pretty tough to be fully onto it mentally for that whole tour. Yeah,
big time. It's obviously in the past, like you take it for granted when COVID wasn't here, you could just sort of get out of the hotel and go for a walk around, but you were pretty confined to the team environment the whole time. Like, you couldn't really escape it. But it does take its toll. But I guess the team itself and the coaches and management are pretty good at just recognising that and giving us sort of time to ourselves when we need it. And it is tough. Like, it's like when you're in that camp and you're under that pressure every week, like, doesn't matter what team you play, like, regardless of what team it is, whenever they play the All Blacks, they come out the blocks flying. And if you don't win by a certain amount of points, you haven't played that well, or if you lose, it's like you're under the scope for the whole week. And so it is pretty daunting, the whole pressure and side of it. Trying to escape it can be quite hard, particularly when you can't sort of get out and about with being confined in our own bubble. So it is definitely tricky, like, for sure. Like, I'd be lying if I was saying you don't have times where it's like hard to escape, but you find ways. You just hang out with the lads. Like, we play golf on Wednesdays, and that's like just a huge, like, it's like we live for our Wednesdays. Like, we played some epic courses while we were away, thanks to Bodie. And it's just like, that's a good way just to get out of the hotel. Like, we had probably on our good days like 16 blokes like going out playing golf.
Oh, so that's right.
Yeah, a massive crew of us, and we were fortunate enough to play. We ended up playing on tour when we were in the UK 4 Ryder Cup courses that have been played. We played in Wales, Celtic Manor, Congressional, which is they plan so far ahead. So that's in 2037. I think it's a wee way away. Marco Simone in Italy, which is the next one, and the French Les Golf National, which was played a few years ago. So we were very lucky with the golf. So that was how, like, we get out on golf days and we just take off for the day. How is your golf game now? I haven't watched you play since the New Zealand Open, obviously, where you had your ups and downs. It started pretty poorly, like real poor in Aussie. Like, but we were playing like so much, like we played so much golf, and to a point where I was just honestly lost everything. It's funny how like quickly you can just then go and lose yourself, and all it takes is a couple of good shots, and you're like, yeah, I've got it. Like, I know how to fix it. Yeah. You go back out, and it's a shocking game. But by the end of the tour, I started to come right, got a little bit better. But yeah, I don't think many of us played to our handicaps while we were away. Geordie was probably the closest. He's a gun.
Is Geordie the best? Is he?
Yeah, he plays off a scratch.
True.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So he's a gun. He plays really good, really well. So, but yeah, some of the courses we played were pretty tough. So it was a tough game to try and now you hit to your handicap, but better than New Zealand Open anyway. Like that was atrocious. The pressure really got to me there.
Was that the most nerve-wracking situation you've been in? Obviously, you're pretty clutch when it comes to goal kicks and stuff. So what's it like teeing off at the first at a New Zealand Open?
It doesn't compare, like not even close. Like because like with rugby, obviously, you're capable of doing it. You've done it before, but golf's like another, and particularly when you're playing with a pro. Yeah, it was a disgrace, my golf game. I nearly gave my clubs to Albie to hit, and I'll carry the bag. It was, yeah. The worst thing was on the first tee. The first time we teed off, we had Shane Warne and Ryan Fox were in the group behind us.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as we were about to tee off, they started walking down. They had to deal with posse fire, and I was like, oh, no. It's like, this isn't going to be good. And it's funny because people are like, you used to playing in front of big crowds. It's like, it's not even close, not even comparable.
Mate, that's classic. And you talked about Geordie's golf game. Also, he was playing pretty well on the field as well, so made it pretty hard for you to get much game time, especially in your 15 jersey. But how was the tour for you personally? Every chance you got, you played well. But like I said, around Geordie, he was pretty hard to get out of that 15 jersey.
Yeah, he had an awesome Euro. Like he clutched in a few games where he kicked us to win the game. He's just so reliable. And obviously, when you get in the Northern Hemisphere, they play a lot of their kicking game and a lot of aerial stuff, which he's a gun at. So, he was playing great and got a couple of opportunities, which went not too bad. He was the one against Italy probably wasn't as great as I would have wanted it to be. It was one of those missings, but yeah, all times I sort of got a crack. I tried to, rip him, make the most of it. So a couple of times ended up on the wing, which was interesting. Yeah. But yeah, like I'm just happy to get on wherever. But it was a good tour. It was, enjoyable, but it was by the time it sort of ticked away at the end, it was nice to sort of get away from it and finish up.
Mate, there's just so much competition in that squad at the moment, especially around the 10s and 15s and outside backs. It's just so hotly contested.
Oh, mate, it is like, and particularly there's just still guys just coming through the whole time, and and it's good, like it creates good competition throughout the team, but it's like you're never, resting on your capabilities of what you can do. You always got to, play well, and I guess, it starts what you're training to. Like if you train like a muppet, it's not going to help your case either. So you got to be pretty switched on throughout the week, and then once the game comes around, you've got to make sure you're performing as well. So, there's plenty of competition. It's good though. It's good, good competitive rivalry.
Do you prefer 10 or 15? Obviously, you get asked this a wee bit, but it's probably changed a few times throughout the years. Yeah,
like I sort of mixed and matched a little bit, and 15, I enjoyed the freedom of just doing your own thing, which is fun. But I do really enjoy 10 as well, like because you're obviously a bit more in control and a bit more in the driver's seat there than what you would be at 15. You sort of get more of a touches on the ball. So I'd say like moving forward, like 10 is probably a position I want to try and focus on, and I think it's a position I'll be playing over here in Japan, which would be good fun. And 10s, there's plenty of good 10s around as well. Two blokes, Bodie and Ritter, top at the moment. They're pretty good to learn off, but tough to pass at the moment.
Yeah, mate, so much competition. But you talked about everyone look forward to getting back to New Zealand for a break, and you've obviously launched the Grins, one of the greatest drinks of all time by the sounds of it. You've timed that launch really well. Give us a little bit of insight into how this side hustle started.
Yeah, so the way side hustle, the Grins drink, probably started like the start of this year, and it's actually come along quite quickly, the whole process. And we got obviously Anton, myself, Beaver, working tirelessly back home. Like, he is just foot to the floor. Like, when he's got an idea or like something he wants to do, he works himself into the ground. So he's doing a lot of work back home, and like, even got off the phone to him before, and he's in it packing up pellets, getting them sent away, and so yeah, it started. We were just, Beav and I did a couple of things in the past where we'd invested some money, and then we got chatting about like, how cool would it be to like sort of have our own drink. Like, we obviously love the summertime, love getting out and having a good time with our mates. So we're like, it'd be quite cool to try bring out a drink of our own. Got talking to a few people, and then it sort of just started to grow as a brand. And then we got a couple of boys to join. So Albie was keen to jump on board, and obviously he's Mr. Summer. Loves the summer, Albie. Like, he's a very social bloke, so he's a great guy to have in the crew. He'll be getting the Grins drink out there plenty over the summer. So, and then got our flavours sorted, got the name, and then obviously been fortunate enough with a lot of very supportive sort of bottle stores around the country have jumped at us to jump on board and sort of stock our product, which has been great. So it's in stores this weekend everywhere pretty much in New Zealand. So hopefully flies off the shelves.
No doubt.
Yeah, which has been fun. So, and it was like, obviously, you have these things that you put in the pipeline, and it's like, a lot of them just get brushed aside, but it was cool to actually see like it actually come out, and like, boys send us videos of them at the factory of the drink getting made up and getting put in the boxes, and sending us like picture of the pallets of all the Grins being boxed up, and it was pretty cool. So that's how it sort of come about. It was hopefully just something outside of rugby, and a different thing we sort of can put our focus to when we're not in the footy field. Hopefully it goes all right.
How'd you come up with the taste of it? Was that your doing?
Like, we went in one day to the factory, and like, you just do some taste tests, and it's funny how they do it, like, because obviously you think it's quite a big process, but it's literally they put it in like a soda stream bottle, carbonate it, drop a few flavors in it. So we'd sort of go in there, but what about this? What about that? And sort of just whip it up in a couple of minutes, and then you'd have a taste, and yay or nay. And then so lemon and limes, it was kind of like we wanted to do like a kind of a citrusy one. So that one was a real hit when we took it around and sort of got a few people to taste it. And so lemon and lime, and then the mango pineapple was obviously a flavour or fruit like that was becoming more popular and coming back in, like hoping to come in over the summer. So chucked that in with the mango, and come up with that flavour, and that was pretty delicious as well. So so far so good. Had a few good feedback about the flavours. So,
mate, you're an absolute wizard. Look at you go.
hopefully everyone just hooks in and enjoys the Grins.
Oh, no doubt. A few Tassie boys tried it after the weekend, and they all gave great feedback for it as well. So
we've been lucky. The boys, everyone's been pretty good with the feedback. I think if it's shit, just let us know, and we'll try and make some adjustments. But hopefully it's not.
No, it must be good stuff, mate. Anyway, I'm pretty keen to hear about the early days of the young big Jim. Obviously, good mates with your brother Marty, so I know a little bit about your upbringing. But growing up in Gore, give us the rundown of your life back then.
Grew up in Gore. We grew up on a dairy farm, so parents were dairy farmers. Grew up in this place just below Edendale called Seaward Downs. It's about 30 minutes out of Chicago, and then moved up to Gore. Went to school there, started like a primary school, about 30 people, so it was pretty small. Then went to St. Peter's College for a couple of years in Gore. I've always played rugby since I was a young fella, and I remember obviously Marty played a lot of rugby, and my dad played rugby, so we watched a lot of him. Mum played hockey, so we were constantly, once we'd finish our rugby, we'd head along and watch them do their thing. But I remember as a young fella, like, playing down home was just, we play like in the early mornings, so like 8, 9 o'clock, and you get like hard frost down there, like where it is freezing. But as a young fella, like, you just don't really feel the cold, like we'd play on like concrete. Like it was literally like concrete. Like, it was still hard. You'd finish up, get your pie, get your fizzy, head home, just sit in the shower for a while, and then just get back out and do your thing. But so that was my sort of upbringing down home, and then moved to college after that in Christchurch.
Is it true you went up there for a tennis scholarship? Is that how you got there?
Yeah, it was like a sports scholarship, and yeah, they kind of like pinpointed it more on tennis than the rugby aspect.
Were you a tennis wizard? Were you?
Oh, I played a lot of tennis when I was a young fella, probably eight, somewhere around then.
Yeah.
Just started playing tennis. We were always encouraged to try and play as many sports as possible, like a summer and a winter sport. So gave tennis a crack, and that was good fun. It was a lot of travelling around and playing a lot of tennis. So yeah, went out there on a tennis scholarship. But to be fair, the scholarship I had the scholarship the whole time I was there, but tennis only lasted. I don't even know if it lasted a year, to be honest.
Well, apparently you stopped playing tennis and started playing for the C cricket team with your mates. They were filthy.
Yeah, I did because we the tennis, they were like, because I started playing up there and they're like, you're going to have to play over the winter. And I was like, well, I'm playing rugby, like I can't, like, and they're like, it's either got to be one or the other. I was like, oh, sorry. The tennis got binned. So I was only playing that for what, about a year up there, and then went and played. I was like, I don't know what else I'm going to do. I was like, I remember Marty had a few cricket pads and a bat lying around. So I was like, okay, I'll take those. So when played cricket in the social C team, but it wasn't really social. We were still out there for like 6 hours of the day and didn't bowl much. I was too erratic, so you just batted and ran from boundary rope to boundary rope, and then once I was old enough, like you could start playing golf. So I just started playing golf, go to the driving range once a week and had a couple of balls around. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So that's probably when I went up there. What ended up being my main focus was just jump into the rugby and give that a crack.
And I think everyone probably knows how good you were at schoolboy level playing rugby. Mate, you were absolutely tearing up the New Zealand scene from a young age. So talk to me a little bit about your college days playing footy. Yeah.
So to be fair, like when we moved up there, we didn't it was more just different opportunity, or like up in Christchurch, and so rugby wasn't we didn't really go there for rugby, and the rugby at college wasn't like a real strength of theirs. But we were just such a small Palangi boys, like we were tiny. So yeah, I remember heading up there, and you had your grading games and that. It's funny. So I remember my first grading game, and it was the same weekend as duck shooting weekend down home. Yeah. And being from down obviously Southland, the weekend stops for duck shooting. So I said to my coach, I was like, do you mind if I head down home this weekend for duck shooting? So he's like, well, if you go down duck shooting, mate, he says, don't expect to come back and play for this team. I was like, okay. So played our grading games, and I remember we just, like I said, we were just a bunch of small little white battlers and always punched fairly well above our weight, but it was tough going until I guess you used to play a lot of those teams. We had a lot of the big island boys and who had obviously matured a lot earlier than us. So it wasn't until probably under 16s or that we started to actually front up a little bit better. I may have played first 15 and fifth form. The fifth, sixth, seventh form, we were always on the edge of the semi-finals. So never played in the semi-final, but we were close most of the time. Hosted good after matches. Used to go to some of these places. That was it. So but no, it was fun, man. The school rugby is good fun, eh? You sort of play mid-arvo and with the lads, and then play around, and just it was all pretty casual. We'd only train twice a week, sort of thing. Yeah. Nowadays, you see a lot of those big schools that were training some mad health, and they trained. So it was pretty casual for us, and it's good fun playing at college.
And you're not lying when you say that you're a bunch of white battlers, eh? Because one of my favourite clips on YouTube is you leading the haka for the Christ boys. Mate, your pukana to word ratio is right up there too. It's pretty impressive.
It's get a lot of compliments for that at the moment. That haka, it's pretty daunting. No, I mean, for us, it was the captain lead the haka, and in Christchurch, obviously, every game you do a haka, and you walk, you obviously stand your line and you walk up and you put your cap down, and it's pretty serious. You sort of just slowly strut back and then and then jump in and rip into a haka, and I tell you what, the stance has definitely got better. I remember I was pretty much straight legged when I was doing it. But if you want to look at it on YouTube. It's still there, I think.
Yeah, mate, I watched it last night. Oh, it was good stuff. One of the greats. Right?
Well, like I said, I was probably one of the most, we're all just white battlers, so there weren't many too intimidating guys to lead it. So,
mate, you did a
I'll do the
bloody good
story
job.
on it.
Yeah, 100%. And one thing throughout your career, you've obviously been one of the smaller guys. How often were you told coming through the grades at school level and even below, like that you were going to be too small to make it?
Yeah, you got told a little bit, like, you know, like your size is going to be a disadvantage of when you get older. Like, you know, like when you play against the big guys, you'll get thrown around. And yeah, like, so I was always told that, but it was probably more just motivation, like, you know, like just to prove people wrong. And I remember like growing up, like the old man used to always, you know, drill into us like it's, you know, like size is only, you know, size doesn't matter. Like he'd always say, like if you tackle someone, he goes, you know, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Like, tackle around the bootlaces. So having a bloke, we'd always be out in the backyard just running at each other, rugby, doing that stuff. So I mean, yeah, I guess when I first sort of like got into like the professional era, it was kind of like, you know, you need to put on more weight, you need to do this, you need to do that, and like to a point where like I was just eating for the sake of eating, and like these days I'd have a protein shake after the gym where it'd have like that so many calories in it that I couldn't even eat lunch, and yeah, so like I got to like honestly since I left school I've probably put on like 8 kilos, like and within like how many years, 7-8 years, which is bugger all. Like for a lot of, you know, some people put that on a couple of years. So yeah, just got to find a way to try not to get too beat up. So yeah, it's funny because I can eat, like I can eat a lot when I need to, but yeah, it just falls off me. And that's, I'm a bit worried about these bento boxes in the next 2 weeks. I could come out with a racing sardine.
Did you ever feel internally like it was going to potentially be a barrier, or did you never even think that'd be an issue?
No, I never really thought it was going to be an issue. Like, I saw it as more of like a really fun challenge. Like, you know, like being smaller, you know, people can pinpoint you for just being like, no, he's too small, we'll run at that guy. We'll target that guy, which still happens. Like, you know, I'd run at me too if I was playing against us, like how small we are. So yeah, my early days, the tackle stats weren't too flash. So, but soon got to learn that, you know, it's just is what it is, and it's a fun challenge to sort of try and tackle guys who are bigger than you, or I don't have the size, but then I guess you know, the other thing is just trying to have the speed and agility to get around those bigger blokes. That's what I sort of got to try and do otherwise.
Yeah, 100%, mate. You're such a good example for kids, because I know so many kids out there get told that they're too small to ever make it professionally, but mate, you're like the perfect example of if you've got speed and agility, or I suppose you've got to be pretty tough as well. You're a pretty tough bugger, so you get those attributes, and you can definitely still make it and dominate at that highest level as well.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it's you know, like I guess it's never, you know, you're never too small to be able to. You can do anything, any size, any shape, you know. So, it's cool, you know, if I can be able to motivate a few more smaller kids to play rugby and have a crack at it, and you know, it's puts a smile on my face. So yeah, anyone can make it.
Mate,
for sure.
Love that. Post college, you went through the ranks pretty quick. You made New Zealand 20s. I remember playing you for the Hurricanes development side. And, you were tiny back then, and that was the first time I saw how sort of tough you were, because you were running to some pretty big sized adults then who were playing professional rugby, and you took a few big hits, but mate, you just bounced up and had the next hard carry. And I remember thinking coming off that game, like, God, this week it's tough.
Yeah, it was, everything did come quite quick, and which was, I was very lucky. I made the 20s my first year out of school, so I obviously moved up to Waikato and made the 20s side that played in New Zealand, and we were playing you, Jimmy Marr, in that Wellington game, and we were going to Irans and New Plymouth. It was every time you go on there, you just got thrashed, and you know, it was quite daunting. I remember the 20s camp was, some of the stuff you had to do was just outrageous. Like, you go there and it was, you know, scary enough, being like from a small school, not really knowing that much. You sort of jumping in, you run around with all these guys who've been playing up the big comps up north, and then we had this thing called the longest day, where it was literally like, how long? Well, I wasn't a whole day, but like literally we started in the afternoon, and you just got thrashed the whole day, like running circuits. We had to run pretty much an essay on why we wanted to be picked in the team. get up in the morning, like literally we ran around this whole field for like 3 or 4 hours carrying jerry cans just around the field until they told us to stop, like just trying to mentally break us pretty much. So we had to do all that stuff, and then we played in New Zealand that year, and I think we made the semis, and we lost to Africa that year. They had a decent side. I think England ended up winning it actually. But yeah, that was the start, and then so it was the first real taste of that international sort of rugby, and it didn't disappoint. It was it was physical, especially going from school rugby, and you go straight into that. It's just another level. Yeah. It was cool, like you learn from those experiences, which has been great.
And then, how did you get up to Waikato?
Always, like growing up, I always thought I'd just go back home, just back to Southland, because I was like, that's where I've grown up. And then, funnily enough, was actually when I was in Christchurch, I supported the Crusaders, like I watched the Crusaders. And then, I think Wayne Smith was up at the Chiefs, and he'd got guys like Anton, Lienet-Brown, and James Tucker, guys who I'd played rugby with in Christchurch up, and he sort of talked and was keen to sort of have me aligned with the Chiefs. Not contracted, but sort of like as an interim, we go on and train with them and that. And so, went up and had a look up there. And initially it was Bay of Plenty who offered me a contract. Went up and had a look there. And I guess being new, like moving away from Christchurch, I was kind of keen to, if I could be based in one place. So if I went and had to train in Hamilton with the Chiefs, like if I could try and sign with Waikato. So I tried to reach out to Waikato to see if there was an opportunity to play there, and then eventually they offered me a contract, and moved straight up after school. So it was bizarre. Like I just never thought I'd be up there playing rugby, to be honest, be up in Hamilton. It was kind of like, obviously when I was at school in Canterbury, like they offered me to stay around sort of as a PUD contract, and yes, Canterbury have got such a great track record of producing like great players, and like back then, though, there was a real backlog of good teams. Like they had, around there was like Colin Slade, Tyler Blindale, DC was still there, Tom Taylor, Richie Moanga was still, he just finished as well. So like there was plenty of boys there. So thought, why not? So moved up, moved to Hamilton, and been there since. I think it's been there about 8 years now. So
did you feel ready going into that environment?
Yeah, I did. I like, obviously there were definitely some areas of my game where I was like, I could come, like school rugby, that's not even comparable to the stuff we were playing, and then going to Mitre 10. And so I thought, there was parts of it where I was like, a little bit thinking maybe I was underdone, but I sort of always had the attitude of just, just whatever's chucked at me or whatever there is, like just try and give it a go, sort of thing. So, I knew it was going to be challenging and tough. We had quite a young team, so it wasn't just me being there amongst all these old heads. There was plenty of us young boys in that Waikato team. So it was fun. Like I said, we're a team that could have beaten a lot of teams, but we're a team that, with not a lot of experience, we could easily lost anyone as well. So it was definitely a big learning that first year. I still get reminded now when how poor my tackle stats were. Someone was trying to tell me they reckon I was last and Marty was second last. Apparently the Mckenzie brothers were last and second last, which ain't flash. So,
mate, you must have been doing well to be worse than him.
Oh, I know, Sonny, the old leaky bucket. I'm no better, to be honest.
No, but you did have summarised that time at Waikato pretty well, how you could beat most teams or lose to most teams on any day. But one game I remember you guys getting right up for is that Ranfurly Shield game. Talk to me about that one.
Yeah, so that was that year was like I said, like we had a pretty up and down season. I wasn't that flash at all, to be honest. And we caught Hawke's Bay on there that week. They play 3 games in the week.
Yeah,
we were going into our last game, and like any of the boys, like whenever you play in your last game, and there's like a bit of a big leer up afterwards, like you seem just to get up for it, and all right, go down there, just chuck the ball around, see what happens. And it was buzzy, eh? Like Weeby scored a hat trick. One of the other young fellows, Jordan Trainer, it was his first game. I mean, it was his debut game. I remember asking him, like, oh, they have like, debut game, like, have you ever played this late in the day? He goes, no, I've never played at night time. Oh, gee. I was like, okay. Like his first, and honestly, he just carved up. Like, it was unbelievable. Yeah, Weeby scored a hat trick, and we were up by like we're in a position where it's like, no, you can't lose. And honestly, like next thing you know, Hawke's Bay start coming back, and I'm like, oh, I was like, surely we don't lose this. Yeah, it was mental. Like it was good fun. Like just how our season was pretty average, and then all of a sudden, like by winning the Ranfurly Shield, just completely turned it around. It was wicked, and we had some good times after it too. It was fun.
Oh, I bet. And one story that I've heard about is your famous golf cart incident through New World. give me a rundown on that one. Surely that's one of the greats.
Yeah. No, so we were so we got back to Hamilton, and being young, dumb, and naive, we sort of just round at Bee's place, and he had a golf cart in his garage.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously keys were in it. So, and I think it was like 2014. I think if we were doing it now, I'd be mad. But we'd get out and like I was in Brent Arnell's cricket whites that Bee gave me. I was had an arborist helmet on, and we jumped in the car anyway. There's like me and myself, a couple of others, and we're driving along. And one of the boys got the shield on the back, driving on the road. And then we went up to the New Road and Road of Tuna, and obviously there's two doors that enter the door, so like you come in one and there's the exit out the other.
Yeah. And
I had no idea what we were thinking of it. I drove it, pulled up, drove through one entrance, and then drove out the other entrance in the golf cart. Just boys are waving the shield around. It would have been. Well, you would have looked like a sideshow. Like I'm sitting in there in my cricket whites and this big arborist helmet on. But yeah, but it was So you said the next day, Beef had the keys, which is fair enough. But it was those are the days. It was cool. We were getting a lot of people were sitting there like tooting and yelling, going like congrats, going, oh yeah, good stuff. And then you go, some people were like, get off the road, you idiot. Sorry, mate. But yeah, we had some good times. Yeah, some of the memories we had with that shield, which I'm sure they've got plenty. It was fun.
Oh, mate, that's absolute classic. And then you made your move into the Chiefs pretty much straight away after that, didn't you, after your first year at Waikato, was it?
Yeah, so 2015, got a contract with the Chiefs. So, moved in straight after that. And, it was lucky it happened all quite quickly as well. And got to play in a few games quite early when Cruds was coming back from All Blacks duties. And, it went not too bad. And sort of, it was, I was fortunate enough to get quite a few opportunities that year, more so just off the bench and only a couple minutes here and there. But yeah, it was good fun. We had looking back on the team we had now, like we had some serious athletes in that team, and our coaches we had too were world class as well. Looking back on it,
yeah. Mate, you're so humble. You absolutely carved up your debut. I remember it. You were running amok for a debut.
Oh, I remember my day was the Blues game up in Auckland, and to be fair, I had a few decent fellas outside me. I had Sonny outside me. Ended up kicking a few goals. So yeah, it could have been worse, but it was nice to be able to start off on a good note. I remember Swanee was in the team that year too, and I actually think he got robbed. He didn't start. Like, I remember playing the preseason games, and like Swanee was obviously he played a bit more than me, and he had a good preseason, better than what I did. Yeah. Anyway, and then they picked me to start in the first game. I'm like, oh, Swanee. Yeah. I was like, sorry, mate, you deserve. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. But I was sorry, mate, you deserve to be starting more than me. Obviously, got lucky there, but. No, it did start not too bad. And then once Cruds come back, sort of like I said, just sat on the bench for a while. And then later in the season, ended up getting a couple games at 15. So
were you living with Marty while you're up there?
Yeah, we lived with Mitch Croswell.
Oh, yeah.
With Crosby. Yeah, just the three of us. So, yeah, we all flatted together and just in a flat in Hamilton. And, yeah, it was good fun. Marty's sort of been around the traps a bit. He was back and forth. Up in Hamilton for a while, then went down to South and then come back up to Hamilton.
One story that's come up a few times in the podcast is your famous prank on Whopper and Toja about the mongrel mob leaving that note.
Yeah.
Talk to me how this one happened from your side of the story.
Yes, obviously your brother Toey and Wop lived together in Beth, and we I think it was the night after we'd massage at the Chiefs headquarters and come outside, and I've got all this rubbish in my backseat of my truck. No, it's like a Toey and Whopper just had a massage. I was like, they're key suspects. So anyway, we're like, what are we going to do? So And we almost remember what used to come in and be like, oh, these guys around the corner who are in the mongrel mob, and they just sit out in their garage and, you know, I try and wave at them when I can, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fuck, we should go around there and just write a note and leave it on their door and just say, like, you know, stop waving at us. So pretty much the note was like, tell your fat curly-headed friend to stop waving at us when he drives past. He goes, otherwise, you guys will pay for it. Anyway, we come into training the next day, and I've never seen Tojo so quiet. Like he's just like walking around. He's walking around, and we said, "What?" We're like, "Bro, what's wrong with Toby?" He goes, "Man," you wouldn't believe it. He goes, "Got this note on our door from the mongrel mob around the corner," and he goes, Toby's shitting himself because Beth's been ringing him up non-stop. Going, we got to move. And Big Woffer, like, he's like, oh, you know, like, he goes, if that was me back home, he goes, if I didn't wave, they'd be pissed off. He goes, I'm waving to them every day, and they just never wave back to me. And eventually, honestly, we had to tell him, because I've never seen Toey like it. Like, Tojo's the one who usually, you know, puts the pranks on everyone. You know, we told them pretty quickly, like, oh, sorry, boys, that was us. More probably for the fact that poor old Beth back at home was probably just
looking at houses,
sitting looking at houses so where she can move to. So yeah, we always, you know, try to get back at each other.
Oh mate, that's one of the great shit. I love that. Yeah. And the other one was when you guys were going around to a partners do, and yeah. You escaped pretty early. Give me the rundown on this one. Surely that one's not true. I know you handle your duties.
Yeah, it's not. It is kind of, but it's not. We had partners. Yeah, partners. So I went with Marty and Whopper, like, oh, come around early, like, come around for a few drinks early, and we're like, oh, yes, sweet as. And I kind of was like, probably not a great thing. I mean, anyway, we dressed up as these tennis players, rolled in. Toey's like, oh, we'll start playing some darts, eh? So like, yeah, sweet. So we were playing darts, and like highest number, last number, who had the last number has to drink.
Yeah.
So that was punishing. And then we played like the bullshit game with the cards. Where, you know, you like, if you've got the card, you go, yeah, 2 drinks, and you're like, oh, bullshit. But I was so worried because Tojo can drink like a fish that, like, I knew like 2 beers for him was nothing. So I'd be like, oh, I'll just snack my beer. And I'm not even gonna call it on you. Anyway, it got pretty rolled, and I remember like, leaving. Like, I walked out the deck room, like, and jumped over the fence and taken off. And to this day, they reckon I did the shithouse shuffle because, like, nah, the bathroom door was locked. We couldn't get in. You must have jumped out the window. So, but nah, I didn't. But yeah, and then I learned after that. I was like, there's one guy you do not want to keep up with or try to drink with, and that's Tojo. He's a menace.
Yeah, mate. He loves it, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So good. And your form on the field, obviously, especially the last couple of years, has been on absolute fire. You've won that many games for them over the last few years. You come up clutch, maybe 5 or so games in a row last year. It was an incredible streak. So, mate, talk to me a little bit about your time on the field playing for the Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs, we've had some like, epic seasons. Like I said, like that first time when I started out, like some of the blokes we had in our team were gun, you know, like we had some good seasons. We kind of always sort of made sort of semis, quarters. We never got to a final. As I say, this year was the first final I've ever actually played in, like in my life. First final I've ever played in. So, yeah, it's an epic club to play for. Like the fans, are, like obviously rowdy, like really good. Not a lot of people love coming up to Hamilton and playing really. Like, but yeah, I guess the first couple of years were a good learning curve. Sort of, it was good like playing when you first start because like sort of people don't know you that much, so you sort of get away with a bit more. But like as soon as a few more years I've played, like the opportunities are so few. You know, like there's not as many. The holes aren't as big. Like people were trying to shut you down. So probably took a while for me to learn about that. Just thinking it was always just going to happen, and you know, like you'd have years or like games where just stuff would happen easily, and then the next game, you know, you'd battle and you'd wonder why. So learned like for a while, like my maturity of like my game management. Sometimes I'd be running it from everywhere.
Yeah.
And like, you know, whereas I should be kicking it. So I feel like definitely grown in that area, but probably the toughest year we had was that 2019 year. And that's the year I got, it was. And that's the year I got injured too. So that was a tough year. Feel sorry for like the lads, like, you know, for how hard you try, like just nothing was happening. Like And until you go through that, like as a team, you don't realise. Like you looked at like teams, for example, say like the Blues in the past, like had those sort of years, and until you're actually in the position, it's like it's not as easy as you think. You know, like it doesn't matter what we tried or what happened. It was like we were always like on the losing side of things. Like whereas this year, or like this year, like the bounce of the ball was just would go away a bit more, which was effort. Like it was just like winning that game, our first game, we beat the Canes. Like just that feeling of winning, and like once you start winning, you just get like, there's such more positive. It's like it's contagious, like just a positive energy around the club, and all of a sudden, like like I said, like ball that wouldn't bounce our way in the past was starting to bounce our way, and
those last minutes, it just makes going over.
Yeah, that helps. Like it makes it so much more enjoyable, like, and the lads are just having heaps of fun, and that's today, like going into trainings each week, like everyone's just up, fizzing. So yeah, had some pretty good runs this year, and some pretty cool moments. Like it's cool to be able to, nail kicks for your team and stuff like that. It's a pretty cool feeling being able to do that, and seeing what we've gone through in the past to where we are now, which is great. And yeah, it's an epic club to be a part of. It's it's a club I always hold dear to my heart and always want to play for. So,
what is your mindset lining up these match-winning kicks?
It's kind of like, I guess just like you don't give a fuck sort of attitude. Like you just, that's how I sort of try and visualize it. Because there's so many times you can sit over a kick and you just overthink it. Like it's so easy. Like it's just a kick. It's a straight kick. Just kick it. Yeah. So kind of attitude I try and have is just try not to overthink it. And those, like as a kicker, like it's cliche, but like those are moments you sort of live for. Like if you can, it's sort of hero or zero. You either make them or you don't. But just try and not really care too much about it. It goes over, and just lucky enough, just a few of them went down the middle, which was cool.
Yeah, mate, it's easier said than done. Eh? Just kick it.
Oh, mate, it's like you sit on a kick. It's a bit like when you go to the driving range when you're playing golf. Like the driving range, like you hit it mint, and as soon as you get out and play around, you're terrible. So you just got to get up there and just give it a snot.
How good. And also your All Blacks career, obviously you went through to the All Blacks pretty quickly as well, so that was pretty rapid rise as well. I think it was the following year from your Chiefs debut. But talk to me about the first time you went into that environment and what that was like for you.
Yeah, 2016. It was my first time I made it. It was the June series actually. We were playing Wales, and remember I got the call when we'd just finished playing the Waikato in Sydney. Got the call to say I'd made it, and I was fizzed up. And anyway, went to camp, had our 3 weeks, and we'd won the series after 2 games. And then the last game, I hadn't played at all. And then the last game, they're naming the team on the Tuesday. Anyway, I'm like listening to the team, and all these names are getting read out who haven't played, and pretty much everyone who hadn't played was getting named. I was like, here we go, boys. I'm going to get named here at the 22, 23. Get to 23. No, not my name. I was like, oh, okay. So everyone got picked to play that series apart from me, and like obviously they might, it was probably more a learning experience for me to go on and play, and or just see what it was like in the environment. Anyway, did my sort of chatted to the coaches, and they said, we just thought you could have been a lot better with how you prepared throughout the week. And obviously in the All Blacks, they have like a prepare to play mindset. You have your week plan, so you plan out each training of what you're going to do. And so once I didn't get named, I was like, well, I'm not playing. I'll just go help the other boys. So if someone needed high balls, I'd just go kick them balls. If someone needed tackle practice, I'd just go hold the tackle peg. Because obviously in the past, that's just what I knew. If I'm not playing, why would I just do my stuff? I'm better off helping someone to prepare who is playing. So I soon learned that you got to be a bit selfish on preparing yourself. So that was a bit of a change up. So yeah, but that was the first time I made it. And then later on that year, I didn't make the championship squad, but got called in and debuted in Argentina that year against the Argentinian team. So that was fun. the parents come and watch, and some family friends and a good mate, and came on with like 20 to go, and usually the boys are on fire and attack, and I think we're on D the whole time. Need to try and pretty much just on D the whole time. Scotty got yellow carded, so that didn't help. But yeah, the debut game was a bit of a blur. I don't remember too much of it, to be honest, apart from just the trial in them, to be fair.
And did you feel comfortable at that level? You spoke that you did feel comfortable playing for Waikato and the Chiefs. So what was it like at the All Black level? Was that a next level up, or did you feel comfortable there?
No, it was definitely a next level up. Like, it took me a bit to definitely took me a while to not so much gain confidence, but sort of just get used to the whole flow of like international rugby, like how much quicker it was, the physicality of the whole game. And so yeah, it definitely took me a while. Like, I guess it's like anything, like just time in the saddle just gives you a bit more confidence, you know. And but yeah, I remember first two sort of games, it was Argentina and Italy. I was like, a couple of times I just remember just running around like a headless chook, like just not lost, but like kind of like that mindset. Whereas I guess because I'm so used to playing at Super and Mida, where you might have been able to get away with it, like you get to international rugby and you're running backwards, you're running sideways. It's like blokes want you to run forward. So soon got to learn to do that a bit better. So yeah, it definitely took a while. Like it was definitely a hard one to get used to.
And one moment that jumps out at me about your All Black career is your injury leading up to the 2019 World Cup. How hard was that to deal with for you? Yeah, well,
it was tough. You know, like I've touched wood, I've always been pretty fortunate with injuries and never really had an issue. And I remember the whole incident. Swanee put a kick out and I was chasing it, and Teddy Black's on the corner. I'm catching. I'm trying to like step and tackle him. My knees just buckled out underneath me. So it was tough, like being told and then knowing like not being able to be back for the World Cup, which is obviously something you try and aim towards. And it was tough, like having to rehab and train, and like you take for granted that all that little stuff, like being able to train as a team, like just going into training, seeing the lads every day. And I wouldn't say I'm like a person who doesn't appreciate things, but when you're in moments like that, like you soon, miss the little things that you take for granted each day, So it was definitely a good learning experience, but not on timing and not something you want to go through at all. But it was tough watching from home. Definitely tough watching from home.
Mate, did you always feel like you're going to be able to get back to the same explosiveness and same speed and all that throughout the whole rehab? Yeah.
Like always pretty confident. Like a really good crew looking after me, and you do heaps of like rehab, where like one-legged stuff and that to get it back. And obviously looking at guys who've done in the past, like heaps of people who had done it reached out to me and said, look, if there's anything you need or any advice, just reach out, which was great. And I never had any doubt that it was going to come back and it wasn't going to, I was going to lose anything like that. Like I think I believe I've still got the same speed I had when I left. And like I said, like just training by yourself, like having to learn how to do that was the hardest thing, trying to get back. So, and it's good, like motivation to be like, right, it's a new year, and the timing of the whole situation. Like I did my ACL 2019, and then usually they say 9 to 12 months, and the 9th month was pretty much a week before the first round of Super. So kind of worked out. There was no need for me to rush to get back. I could just take my time doing the rehab, which was good. Managed to nail that off, and now it feels really good now. Obviously, it's not the same that it used to be, but it's fine.
And so you've got your body's feeling good. You got no niggles.
No, I'm in tip-top shape at the moment, mate. You wait until this watt bike's going to get a hide in the next 2 weeks. I hate the watt bike. It's a shocker. Yeah. But feeling good. It's nice. This 2 weeks are kind of, you'd rather not be doing quarantine, but it's good just chill out and obviously it's been a long season. So, and usually we're in a break this time of year with the summer period, which I'm not this year, but I'm looking forward to obviously what's coming ahead with the Japanese season, ripping into that, but feeling fresh, mate. Hopefully stay that way throughout the season.
Mate. And so what are your plans going forward? You obviously got your Japan contract now, and then the goals to obviously get back into the All Blacks next World Cup? Is that pretty much as far as you've thought?
Yeah, I think for me it is. Yeah, so I'll obviously the Japan thing was like something new, try something fresh, and hopefully rejuvenate myself by coming back I'm back in New Zealand, and then hopefully can make the All Black squad during the championship. Obviously going to have to play a bit of Mitre 10 Cup first, and whether they still want me then. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that's the case, and then hopefully a World Cup in France in 23 would be epic to be a part of. Obviously, the old stone in the shoe, not being able to play in the last one, so it'd be cool to be able to nail that off and make that squad. Would be great,
no doubt. And give us a little bit of rundown on your plans after footy going forward. What have you got sorted? Just going to retire on Grins and make a living sipping Grins on the beach?
Yeah, I think so, mate. I'll I guess hopefully it can still tick away at rugby for a few good years, but obviously post rugby, haven't nailed down exactly what I'm going to do. I'll be lying if I said I had something nailed right now, to be honest. Obviously got a lot of hobbies that I love doing, but in terms of the interests outside, which I can see myself, and I don't know, we're still Grins could be still, if we've still got it, so if I'm running, I might be down man on the ground, getting through stores. Who knows? Might be doing golf tours. Don't know.
Mate, celebrity golf tours.
I don't know if I don't know if I'll be behind a desk. I don't know if I'm the smartest cookie. I don't know if I'm the smartest cookie for that.
I thought you were going to be behind the cart with your brother.
No, he's just got his real estate ticket, so I might just be his PA. Just sit in the office and get him some real estate. Yeah,
brothers.
I don't know.
Oh,
brothers at work. Yeah.
Whatever it will be, no doubt you will absolutely kill it. But as always, we've gone to our Instagram for some questions, and mate, very popular guest like yourself, you've come up with plenty. So many questions were about this question. Would you ever play for the Stags? We got this one maybe 10 plus times. There's a lot of Stag fans wanting you back down there playing with your brother.
I definitely would. Yeah. Long story short, I think it's it's home, like it's where I grew up. I played a lot of like age grade or weight grade rugby in Southland, so a lot to that province. So it'd be somewhere I'd like to play down the track in the future. It's like I said, it's home it's where I grew up, but then also like where I am now in Hamilton with Waikato, it's partly home as well. It's where I've been the last few years, and the opportunity they've given me has been outstanding, and they're a great province and proud province to be a part of. So, but yeah, I will hopefully maybe play a game or two down in Southland before I finish. I'm just not sure when yet.
Oh man, that's going to have the Stag fans excited. I like that. Okay, next one. Let's got this one a few times. People obviously loved the prank done on you. So what was going through your mind during the prank when you had your call from Whoop?
Oh mate, that was gold, eh? That was I remember. So I'm trying to laugh so much. I remember you ringing and going, you were going to do the shoot, blah, blah, blah. And then the moment I clicked is when you're like, we want to be nude. And I was like, nude? I was like, that's a bit odd. But then I was like, no, I've heard of people doing like it's not as if that people haven't done nude stuff, but I was like, oh, it's just a bit weird. And then you're like, yeah, well, we're going to have like, watermelons, like blueberries, these little, I was like, nah, I was like, this is. And then I remember someone, who was it, said they'd been pranked by you like a week or two earlier. And I was like, geez, that voice sounds familiar. And then, I clicked that. Because it's funny because the Whoop, like, honestly, I was pumping it to everyone. Like, I was telling people, like, and I wasn't even, like, obviously sponsored or anything. Like, they weren't giving me anything, which I obviously didn't expect to get anything. But I was just telling all the boys, I was like, I've got this Whoop, and honestly, like, you need to get onto it. It's best thing since sliced bread, like, easiest thing ever. And so then when you rang up, I was like, oh, yeah, here we go. That was gold, mate. That was gold.
Oh, but the best thing is that they did come to the party, eh? They did end up sponsoring you.
they did, like, someone sent them in. They like, oh, that's a good laugh. It didn't last too long though, so I was I'm more than happy to pay for my food. So yeah, still good. I think I've got a few people on board from it. So
mate,
that's just a great company.
Oh mate, that was one of the greats. I love that one. Crack me up. Okay, next one is a story from your brother about when you broke his nose with your motorbike helmet because he tried to kill a hedgehog with a rock. Give me the rundown on this one.
Yeah, I was when we were real young. I think we might have been coming home from school. We stopped at the cattle stop, and in the cattle stop there was this hedgehog, and I was he was just walking past. He's getting his stones. He's just biffing at this poor hedgehog, and I'm like, mate, pretty much, he doesn't deserve that. Like, you can't be doing that to him. And then was like grabbing him, and anyway, he's got me in a chokehold, and I've got my motorbike helmet on, and I've just gone like bang, like smacked his nose, and yeah, and that's broken now. So over that hedgehog, and the thing is that hedgehog, he wouldn't have been able to get out of that cattle stop, so he would have died not too long after. Poor thing. Yeah.
Oh man, that's classic. Was there heaps of biffo between you two growing up? Obviously, you guys are both pretty angry men.
Yeah, there was. Like, we were good, but there were definitely a little bit of biffo times. Like, and like the thing with Marty is, like, he would always have the last say, like, regardless. Like, so there'd be times I'd do something, or he'd done something to me, so I'd get him back, and like you'd say you're even, but then he'd need to get back at you. So there'd be times I'd like run out of the house, and I'd be out of the house for like a good while. I was like, I ain't going back in there.
Yeah,
because he's mad. Like, some of the stuff he'd do. Yeah, we definitely had some biffos. I remember once we were in Wanaka, and he was going to take, this is how stupid the story is, he was going to fleece the jet ski and take it away for the weekend. I was like, you're not taking it anywhere, like, you're leaving it here. Anyway, I've been at him, and next thing he just clocked me in the face. Anyway, parents come home and they go, oh, what's happened to you? And mate's going, oh no, I chucked a cricket ball at his eye. And so he's got a black eye. There's stuff like that where, we'd always have our wee biff, but
you'd just run with it. You'd run with the cricket ball story.
Just run with it, and just, no, it's not worth it. Just run with it. But yeah, we're a bit better now. We've matured a bit now, so it'll be all good.
Love that. Okay, next one. Fastest All Black over 100 meters.
Rico Ioane.
Is he easy? Is it?
Oh, I reckon so. Yeah, he's rapid. Like, yeah, he's quick. Like, once he gets going, yeah, he's rapid.
Where would you be on the rankings? Top 5?
I don't know where I would be.
2.
No. If I was in the top 5, I'd be doing really, very well, I'd say. Yeah. All those wingers stuff, they're rapid, Bodie. Yeah, they were pretty quick. My best is probably just over a short distance. Start to fade, getting late in the 100 meters.
Are you one of the quickest over 10?
Oh, yeah, like top 5 maybe. Oh, yeah. Again, like Reeks. Was Nagy quick? Like, Nagy's like rapid, just like real. Like, his first couple of steps, like, he just gets away pretty quick. Yeah.
I heard Richie's pretty quick over 10, is he?
Yeah, and Lasher, he's real quick. Yeah, he is quick over 10 too. Yeah. Yeah, he's speedy.
Some serious wheels on that side. Okay, mate, last question. I know you got to get to Japanese. So, best piece of advice you've received in your career?
Best piece of advice, it would be, it's probably like advice, like not so much like one bit of advice, but like always make the most of every opportunity that you're given. Like, felt like growing up, we were given a lot of opportunities as kids, and like when you're given those opportunities, you don't want to let people down, or you want to make sure you make the most of them. And so you're never looking back saying, what if I did that better? So, any opportunity you get, make sure you put your best foot forward. I think that's the most important thing. And if it's an opportunity, you got to make sure you enjoy it as well. Because a lot of times you can do things for the sake of doing it. But, I think that would be my best advice. Make the most of every opportunity and have some fun, enjoy it.
Mate, I love that. And you've certainly lived by that as well, mate. You've made the most of every opportunity, and you obviously have a lot of fun doing it. Always got a smile on your face. But, mate, absolute honour to have you on the podcast, mate. Really appreciate you giving up your time over there while you're in quarantine and coming on the podcast. It's been awesome to go through your journey. And, mate, I love watching you play. Like I said, mate, you're an inspiration for all the little men out there in the world. So keep doing your thing, keep enjoying it. keep getting me a heap of fantasy rugby points by breaking all your tackles and playing your game. But, mate, really appreciate you coming on.
Legend. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, mate.